Hello, this is Alex Calvo Garcia. You're listening to the Iron Hour podcast.
Barry here. Welcome once again to the Iron Hour podcast. I'm joined today by Marco. Bit of an impromptu one. We're just kind of getting this together before the Needham Market game on Tuesday night, and obviously, fantastic result for the Iron on Saturday against South Shields. South Shields obviously haven't played in a few weeks, but you never know what you're going to get, either a rusty team or a team that can come firing on all cylinders. Marco, was the feeling around the game quite similar to the Brackley victory on Tuesday night?
Yeah, in many ways. Well, obviously the scoreline being the obvious one, but obviously general play as well. It's something we made harder than it needs to be in a lot of ways. We look comfortable in long periods of the game. Obviously, I think we'll talk about it a little bit later. When Clunan came off, the shape seemed to change, and look, that could come down to them not having played 3 weeks. Obviously, a lot fitter. We've played a lot of games in a short period of time. Tiredness might come into that. But no, look, overall, South Shields, similar to how they came and attacked us earlier on in the season when it was, I remember last year with Julio Arca, we were very free flowing. It's something we saw again. You can definitely see why we scored a lot of goals. Obviously, with the top scorer with Blackett, if we make mistakes like we did on Saturday, he's always going to finish them. So, no, we're a lot better than we were at their place. But no, overall, I was quite happy with how we played.
I guess Butler would say to people at the start of the season, or certainly at some points in the season, we've not scored many goals but kept the clean sheets. At this point, it seems that we're scoring lots of goals, but we're also conceding them. That's a bit of an open edge question, this, but is that a worry to you or not really? Because we're finding ways to get results.
Yeah, at the minute, no. We're doing what I know it's on a different scale, but we're doing what Ange Postecoglou wishes he could do. We've talked about it a minute. So is Butler in line for the Spurs job? But no, it's finding a balance. It's well, at the start of the season, we weren't conceding, but we just couldn't find the net, and now we are finding different ways to score. But what worries me is the manner in which we are conceding the goals. It's not moments of brilliance. It's not really good plays, silly mistakes, bad defending. And look, it can be addressed, but if we're going into games with the intention of scoring 4 goals, a lot of teams aren't going to, especially at Grantham Park, aren't going to come and outscore us. So is it a worry? Yes, but is it a problem? No, not for me. But as he said in the Homicide interview, are you not entertained? He went full Russell Crowe. But yeah, no, it's like I said, it's a little bit of a worry. Even with rose tinted glasses, you'd be silly not to. But no, look, you just got to enjoy the 3 points. Don't matter how they come.
Yeah, even with the Ollie Rose tinted glasses. You mentioned
Brilliant.
there about the 2 goals conceded, and obviously that's 8 goals conceded now in 4 games. Fitzsimmons has had a little bit of criticism on social media over the weekend around some of the recent goals. Question one would be, do you think that's harsh? And then the follow-up question would be, how important was the save he did make in that second half?
I don't think it was. I don't think it's harsh. I think it's there for everybody to see. When it's a goalkeeper, it gets highlighted much more. Then I also don't think it's a secret that Fitzsimmons has got that in him. And it's not just Fitzsimmons. I think it's every goalkeeper's got a little bit of crazy in him. But I think Fitzsimmons just got that little bit extra, just because he takes so much risk with the passing and the long balls. That's part of his game. And it's one that we want to encourage, and it brings us chances. So look, sometimes that does put you in a trap, but I also stand by Fitzsimmons as the best keeper in this league by some way. And I also don't think there's a keeper in this league who doesn't make the odd mistake. But yeah, the last few weeks, I think Fitzsimmons will be the first one to say he's not been as good as he has been or can be. But then that save late on in the game on Saturday just shows you why he's at the level he is and why he's one of our key players.
While we're talking about mistakes and I guess cases for could do better, Andy Boyce has had a lot of praise on this podcast and by a lot of Iron fans. Definitely, I think at fault for that first goal. I think Butler said in his post-match interview, which we'll talk about later, that a genuine mistake, sun in his eyes. But he did get hooked at halftime, and they put that down to an illness. They said he was sick on the pitch. Do you think the pace of Blackett was what basically undid for us? Because we said this last week, actually. As long as he doesn't get into a foot race, is okay. If he wins that first contact, generally we're okay. Now, unfortunately, he did win the first contact in that instance, but he knocked it on, sun in his eye or whatever. But I guess my question is, Do you expect Boyce will start on Tuesday night? And do you think he'll be disappointed with that?
I think it was genuine. I don't think he was A1. And studying with Donny Road and the sun was a real issue. It was very low and high balls over the top. But Blackett was definitely playing purposely on Boyce, knowing the lack of pace there, whereas he wouldn't get that with Coogan. So it was definitely very obvious that that's something they were targeting. Do I think he'll start on Saturday? Tuesday, sorry. I'm not so sure because despite me not being not his biggest fan, I think Boyce is a starter. But Evans played quite well when he came on. I was quite impressed, and he does look a bit more comfortable on the ball. And he's still very good in the air. I know we say Boyce obviously always wins those first and seconds, but Evans is still a very reliable defender. So, look, Boyce has played a lot of games, a lot of 90-minute started a lot of games. So I don't think rotation would be the end of the world. If he is ill, you'd maybe see Nicholson come onto the bench and Boyce not even being involved at all. But I don't think he's done himself too many disfavours. It was a mistake. And yeah, look, if he's ill and the sun was bad, it happens. We've seen it against us. We've seen it for us before.
That's the negatives out of the way, I guess. Yeah. There's lots to sing and praise about from the performance at the weekend. Who was the standout players for you?
I thought Clune were fantastic, and I'm sick of saying it every week. I know he gets a lot of stick. That assist was fantastic. Yeah, look, you notice that later on in the game, the final 20 minutes, as soon as Clune comes off that pitch, you see it. He is so pivotal. I know he gets mocked for finger pointing, but he is like a coach on the field, and I can. That's why Jimmy and Butler have both played him all the games whenever he's fit. Clune starts, and there's a reason for that. And look, Butler's pretty ruthless with his players. If he doesn't think someone fits that system, they're out. They are out, and it's hard for him to get back in. But yeah, Clune, one of his better games for sure. I think Rowley's firmly established himself now as a starter. He's really came into his own and makes that midfield with Clunan. Again, there wasn't really a bad performance. It was just other shot. Roberts always, look, you know what you're getting from Roberts now. You can't even say he's had a good game because you just expect it. So yeah, cutting in off that right hand side, really impressed with him as a winger. I know he got goals in the 10, and we were all screaming for 4-3-3 and out wide, and I think it showed he can play both, but he's lethal out wide, and good to see Whitehall get a goal as well.
You mentioned there about Rowley getting his first goal for the Iron. How impressive has he been, not just on Saturday, but actually in recent weeks?
Yeah, 100%. Like I say, I think he's got to be one of Butler's first names on the team sheet now, and I think he's really important to how that midfield works. With Clunan sort of playing in that sitting role, enables Rowley and Scales to sort of not do the dirty work, but they can be busy. Scales, again, another one, was fantastic on Saturday. He's all over the park. And I don't want to say, but he's a Butler sort of player, if that makes sense, for Rowley and Scales. But a lot of work, a lot of effort. And look, if you can't do that, but you're not going to get into an Andy Butler team, I think that's just his minimum.
Luke Williams obviously picked up another knock, according to Butler's interviews. It's hard to see him get away back into this team, isn't it?
Currently, yeah, in this form, 100%. Which makes your shout of him being pivotal till this season.
Listen, he'll be all right. He'll come good. Don't worry about it.
To have someone of the talent of Zidane on not even making the squad, mental. But no, look, we signed him on that basis of a pay as you play. So it wasn't a big risk to the club because look, we knew about his injury record. It's unfortunate because when he has played in little cameos, like you have said, he's been brilliant. He has been very good. But look at the players that aren't making our squad at the moment. E.g. Nicholson's, Jason Law. We say it on repeat. These are players that start in every other team in this league. So he has got a bit of an embarrassment of riches at the moment. It's not a bad thing. So yes, it's tough. It's going to be tough. And a fully fit Luke Williams might not necessarily even make the bench at the minute with the players that we've got.
Now, we've spoken in previous weeks about how impressive Ollie Rose has been in the few games he's featured for Scunthorpe recently, obviously on loan from Peterborough. Now, there was another player who was warming up on Saturday, and I think it's common knowledge now. We believe that player is Joe Starbuck. Now, What do you think that says, if anything, about Rose's short-term future at Scunthorpe?
I hope not too much. If it is said player, I've done what every other fan does, Wikipedia, and it doesn't look like he does actually play that many games through a season. So it's maybe another Williams where we're not gonna get that full season out of him. But look, Butler obviously sees something. It says he started in Grimsby's academy, so it's possibly local or knows the area. So it would make sense. Does it mean Rose is going back? Hopefully not. But the fact we are semi right back would point towards that. But yeah, let's hope not, because Rose really settled in well. I think should a few naive moments on Saturday. But look, as a young kid, that's going to happen. And I think, yeah, I really hope we do keep him. But look, Butler obviously thinks we need a bit more depth in that position to see the season out. So be it.
On Tuesday night, last Tuesday against Brackley, I noticed Roberts and Clunan, and basically anyone that midfield were kind of coaching Rose through the game and telling him where to be, because he's naturally not a right back. Did that continue on Saturday?
A little bit, but I think he also showed a lot of leadership. A lot of the times he was lining the defence out. That'll come with him being used to playing centre back and controlling that line. It's not something you normally see right backs doing, pulling the defence out from to relieve pressure. And look, I think if you're a Peterborough coach, that's something you want to see happening. The reason he's at loan is to gain that experience by playing with full-time professionals, older experienced pros, and they will help him. And look, the reason he's here on loan is to gain that experience. They've said they're keen on having him back. And that's because they see him at that level. League One, League Two. So League One in it. So yeah, they're going to... It can only be a good thing for all parties. And let's just hope if we can keep it to the end of the season, it'd be great.
Danny Whitehall scored 5 goals in his last 5 league games now. He's really starting to come good. How important do you think he is to the way we play? And particularly because Mark Beck, when he comes on, he does look lively and obviously got that goal last Tuesday. Do you think we're likely to go with just the one striker in that central role?
I think it'll always be a one, unless we're chasing a game and then Butler chooses pure chaos and goes Beck and Whitehall. I said on Humberside last week, Whitehall is beyond pivotal to how we play. Similar to McLuhan regarding the shape and how we attack games. Obviously, we've relied a lot on Roberts and Whitehall, and we will do. We're our key players. It's only natural. It's the same as a lot of teams. You look at your Arsenal if you take Saka out, or Man United out Fernandes. They are your players and they're doing their job. But the last couple of games, it's nice to see other goal scorers. Obviously, Rowley grabbing his first. And when Roberts went down on Saturday, I think the whole of the Donny and all inhaled at the same time. I think, God, if he's injured, we are going to struggle. But yeah, it's not the end of the world. As I said, we've got a lot of players in the door at the moment. You've got 3 players who could arguably come on if Roberts did get injured, with Law, Federa, Ubazunu. So yeah, look, we've got a lot of depth, but we are relying on how Whitehall plays for sure, because although Beck got his goal, and obviously I don't think he's that bad a player, I don't think he can leave that line in a free. I think he maybe needs someone off him.
You mentioned there about Carlton Ubazunu. I feel so frustrated for him, because he finally got a route into the team and actually looked quite lively. But unfortunately, it just seemed to coincide with a moment that the results dipped off. Do you think that was a coincidence? And do you think he will think himself unlucky to now once again be cast aside, it seems, from the squad?
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's be honest, it's because of Beeston, isn't it? Beeston's came in and sort of made that role his own again. Me personally, I prefer Beeston in the middle. I think that's where you see the best out of him. Obviously, he got his goal there last Tuesday night, and I don't think that's what's the word? I don't think it's a fluke that came from the middle of the park.
It's not a coincidence.
Coincidence, that's the one. I think a lot of managers have favoured Beeston, so that tells you a lot. I don't think Carlton was doing too bad a job in that role, and I think Carlton's a more attacking option in that role, whereas Beeston does support the defence a little bit more, which is something that I can imagine Butler is a big fan of. But yeah, when Carlton did come on, he chased the ball really well. He ran players down. He's strong. there's definitely still a role for him in this team somewhere. Whether that's out wide or if it's an option to come off the bench up top instead of Beck. Who knows? But yeah, it's frustrating because we thought we was maybe going to get him back to his best, which we know is there. You can see that. But he does need that run. I won't be surprised if you see him starting the against Spalding in the Cup.
You mentioned earlier on about the interviews on Humberside. Two quite good interviews, actually, Andy Butler and Tyler Denton. And funnily enough, Ollie Turner mentioned something that you'd picked up on last week, which was Denton seems to be more offensive and gets in better areas when we play four at the back, as bizarre as that sounds.
Yeah, and he said, it was no word for word, it's because he's more comfortable there in that position, so he knows what he can get away with going forward. Knowing that he can get back to the set, playing him at back five was a role he wasn't comfortable with. It was interesting to see him play CDM on Saturday when Clune went off. But again, he looked quite comfortable there. And I know he did back for Kingsland a few times as well.
Yeah, that's true, that.
Yeah, so obviously that's another good option. Will we see it on Tuesday, sorry? Probably not. Depending on how bad this Clune injury is. Hopefully it was just a bit of cramp. But no, he does look a lot more comfortable in the form. I think that's where you see his best. And at the minute, for me, he's probably one of your contenders for player of the season for us at the moment.
And Andy Butler's interview, again, he was a lot more jovial. I guess that's what happens when you win games. The pressure's off, right?
Yeah, and it's refreshing. I mean, look, I wish we could win every game so you get happy Butler every game. But look, that's football. And I know he had a couple of problems with Humberside a couple of weeks back when results weren't going our way. But it's just about finding a happy medium. Look, we know we're not going to win every game. It's football. That's how it works. But no, it was nice to hear him very relaxed, in good spirits. And look, that's the Butler we want. Like I said, there's a lot of pressure being Scunthorpe manager because there's a lot of fans expecting to achieve the highest goals. And no, look, one may continue because no one's against Butler. We all want it to work for him. And but like I said last week, a lot of that comes down to him with the credit of changing it. And again, that's not an ego thing. It's not always I'm moving players 5 yards one way. It is a shape, and everyone can see it's a shape. And I think you see the best out of players in this current shape we're playing.
Just the last one before we move on to the Needham preview. If that injury is a little bit more serious with Clune, although there is no indication at this moment that it is, what would you like to see from the club as a reaction to that? Would you think they would use players we've got in-house is option one? Option two, go to the transfer market, whether that's loan or otherwise. Option three, recall Shrimpton.
I think recall Shrimpton. For that role in particular, there's not really anybody else in the club who you could see doing that. Like I know we've just mentioned Denton, but again, you're taking him off left back. I know,
and again, you get away with it for 20 minutes, right? You can't get away with it for 2 or 3 games.
100%. Teams would obviously find out, and but yeah, no, look, it is a tough one because we have got a lot of players there at the minute. Williams would be upset not playing centre mid, but it isn't just centre mid. What Clune does, it is pivotal, and it's sitting in front of that back four, and obviously having Shrimpton on your books to do our role would make sense. I don't know what a recall time is because I don't think we'll have it done in time for Tuesday's game anyway. It'd have been announced by now, so it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully, it was just a bit of cramp. Clune very rarely gets injured, so yeah, we'll see.
And while we're just on the game, I guess one of the things that stands out to me is the board, all of the members of the board coming into the Dre during the game and kind of. Do you think that sent a message? Was that like an act of solidarity?
Yeah, I think they'd wait for us to get that third goal just in case. We don't want to be in an angry Donny Road then. But yeah, look, it was a really good 10 minutes of atmosphere in Donny Road, and fans were really backing the team, liking what we were seeing. Obviously, we've seen reports on social media with big emergency breaking news with problems in the boardroom. And I spoke to Ian at the game, and he was saying he's been looking at his phone and saying, "Oh, that's news to me." So look, rumours can start. We don't know what's going on. It's unfair for us to comment because we genuinely have no idea. But I think that statement of what they did and that show of solidarity obviously spoke volumes and just showed like, look, we are together. It's unity, and yeah, there's not a lot of clubs in England where owners could come and do that. I took my dad to the game and I said, God, can you imagine if a Kyrie owner went to the Kyrie ends? My dad said, be stabbed. So look, it's really good to see, really refreshing. Went around the whole stadium with a good applause. And look, if it is a case of Michelle, I know the rumours where Michelle's leaving, what a servant she's been. Hopefully it's not true. Hopefully we can stay together. But look, at the end of the day, every single person that's staying just wants what's best for the club and the club's future from where we've been. We just don't want to be in the same position as we have been. No matter who's in charge and who's at the helm, we just want stability and something to go moan about on a Tuesday and Saturday.
Oh, Michelle is the one for me, an absolute icon, mate. Like there should be genuine. There'll be statues built of the stepped up, didn't she, when we needed it, and
the full
team was there. I'm really hopeful that nobody's going anywhere or anything like that.
Yeah,
I guess some people would say though, some people might say, Marco, them coming into the stand was that. I guess there's still a case there that something could have happened, and this is their way of responding to it and saying, "Well, we're together now."
Oh, without a doubt. And look, the rumours that's happened, and this happens at every club up and down the country. There'll be goings on, and look, there's 4 or 5 owners. There's going to be disagreements. We're not always going to agree on the same thing, whether that's been blown out of proportion or look, we're saying this. Nothing might have happened. Absolutely nothing. Nobody knows other than those in that boardroom. But look, it's 4 or 5 genuine Scunthorpe fans in there now, and you've got to believe that they've got the club's best interest at their heart. Let's be honest, they're not making any money from owning a club like Scunthorpe. They are keeping us going. Michelle's big push, same as Matt, Ian, George, Rog. Their main thing is keeping us and as stable as we can. Stability. That's something they've mentioned in every interview we've done. And it's something that we've lacked for years now. We've been more of a toy to certain owners. And look, I don't doubt the Swan era, the Hilton era, it's not gone well, let's be honest. And we've not been as stable as we ever have now. Long may it continue. We don't want to ever have to go through that again. So yeah, like you said, Michelle's been a catalyst to that. She stepped up when no one else would. But I think the whole board, not just Michelle, with a group statue. Is that a thing? A group statue? Because we wouldn't be doing this podcast if it wasn't for them. We'd all be at Bottisford games. I don't know where would we be. So yeah, they deserve a lot of credit, and hopefully it's all rumours. Hopefully we can keep going, and a promotion this year would be a perfect way to honour that.
Looking ahead to Needham Market on Tuesday night. First question: what kind of performance are you expecting from Scunthorpe?
A big one, a really big one. Because look, we've won these 2 games back to back. I know we've conceded a few goals, but we've played attacking football, which is what we asked for, was what we've been begging for. But again, beating these teams around us is all well and great, but it's taking the points off these, again, with all due respect, smaller teams. These are the ones we need to be winning to get those points on the board. We've managed to claw our way back into contention now, which is great, but it means absolutely jack shit if we can't get 3 points on Tuesday against... Look, they'll be buoyant. They're only 3 points off safety themselves. Cracking result for them. Obviously, we're going to hear from a Needham fan after this. A cracking result for them midweek. They're still in contention now. I know we said when we went to their place, it was a Tuesday night, wasn't it? That wasn't an easy game.
No, a late penalty, did it?
Yeah, it wasn't an easy game. And look, these teams are fighting for their lives. We've seen it before, whether it'll be 2 banks of 4 coming to sit back at Glanford Park or they'll have a go. I do think that suits us, and that's it. A lot of our wins come from the tougher teams because they are coming to have a go. And I think that plays right into our hands, whereas the smaller teams, you Warrington Highlands even, from Leagues Below, when they come and sit back or have a defensive mindset, it's just something we can't seem to break down. So look, it could be another tough game. It could be a 1-0, but it doesn't matter. Even if we concede 5, as long as we score 6, it really doesn't matter.
I'm just looking ahead to the fixtures after this. There's a couple of tough games, but you would say really the next 7 or 8 games could way define us as a team this season. Just going to list them in order. Obviously, the game on next Saturday against Kidderminster has now been postponed to March. So you're looking at Warrington, Curzon Ashton, Scarborough, Oxford, Darlington, Buxton, Leamington. So there's a lot of points up for grabs in those games. And as I say, there's a case here that the next 7 or 8 games are massively define us and where we finish this season. We're entering a key period, aren't we, Marco?
Yeah, massive. Look, I know we won last week and we said we'd bang where we think we are in the playoffs, but I think other teams seem to be slipping a little bit, whereas Tamworth didn't do that last season. We've hit a nice little bit of form. I think it's 2 losses in 11, which is, let's be honest, is promotion form. So the next 7, 8 games, we can continue that. I think, look, there's no reason we can't win this league, and you just hope that's the message that Butler's getting across to the lads. Playoffs is not the aim. It's got to be winning this league because there isn't a Tamworth. There isn't a team running away with it. You'd argue the top 6 or 7 are probably a staking that they have a chance. Black current form, a full Glanford pack, are back in. There's no reason we can't win this league and win it well as well.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because most of us on the podcast didn't have us winning the league, but now look, it changes week by week, but you suddenly find yourself in this position, and suddenly you're smack bang in the game, aren't you? And there's a real possibility of us winning the league now, and I don't know if I would have said that 6 games ago.
Well, I wouldn't have done. No chance. Absolutely not. It's football fans are fickle, myself included. You lose, it's the end of the world. We're not getting playoffs. But look, a nice little run of fixtures, other results going our way, and I think that's the key one here. Your Kidderminsters, your Chesters, they're all they've got that slip in them. Where, like I said, last year we didn't have that with Tamworth. They were very consistent. I remember always looking at the fixtures saying, we've won, yeah, but so have Tamworth. And you could never really close that gap. I know you mentioned Downton coming up. They've hit a really good bit of form at the minute, so that won't be easy. But yeah, if we can keep continuing to take points off these teams at the top, yeah, 100%. There's definitely a chance to win this league. But look, the next podcast we'll be doing, we could lose on Tuesday night, and it's playoffs. It's just one of those things.
Well, again, we were at such a crossroads because if we lose or if we fail to get all 3 points on Tuesday night, we then lose ground because we're not playing on Saturday and everybody else is, and suddenly we could be massively adrift again. So we kind of need a win to set us up for the insurance policy of not playing on Saturday.
Yeah, 100%. And look, I know I mentioned about South Shields not playing for 3 weeks, and it could go one way or the other. But to me, if we can just keep going as many games as we can in a short period of time, it possibly why Clunan's got his injury. He's played a lot of football. He never really gets subbed. The game's coming thick and fast is suiting us at the minute because we're in that form. We seem to have found our groove. So look, let's hope the Saturday off doesn't affect us too much, but a win on Tuesday and they've earned it.
Hit us up with a score prediction then for the Needham Market game.
Oh, I got tapped on my shoulder with Donny Road end yesterday. He said, not 2-0 then, is it, Marco? By Rory, who is listening to the podcast. Seems to think it's my go-to score, but I've got to be right once, and I do think it'll be 2-0. But on that note, I am going to change it because I think we're conceding just a few too many goals. I'm going to be confident at 4-1. I'm going. Wow. These won't have a Blackett, who, again, we didn't mention him earlier. I wanted to mention him. How he's still at South Shields, I don't know. For a top scorer last season to not get looked at by another team, and then obviously top scorer so far this season, they've done very well to keep a player like that. But Needham don't have a Blackett. I do think it'll be 2-0, but I'm going 4-1 just to try and mix it up a bit.
I'm going to go 1-0 to us. Really, seriously, really close, really tight game. I could see them coming and really making it a frustrating game for us. I think we'll probably just get over the line, but I'm going for a really conservative 1-0.
Goal scorer?
Ollie Rose.
Ollie Rose. I think Coogan's due another.
Another? He only scored?
God, the other day, didn't he? Well, yeah. It was. If I was a South Shields fan, not South Shields, sorry. Brackley, I'd have been a bit pissed off about. I think it maybe did take a nick, but doesn't matter.
Indeed. Right, so let's have our spy in the camp. Our spy in the camp this week is Drew Kendall, part of the media team at Needham Market, and over the next 10 minutes, going to give us a bit of an insight into what to expect on Tuesday night. Now, Drew, I guess the only place to start is the fantastic result for Needham Market at the weekend, coming back from 2 goals down with just 12 minutes to play and winning away from home 3-2.
Yeah, it was a good result, really. I think we deserved it. Alfreton, as you all know, are quite a physical team that poses a threat that I don't think many teams really do with halfway line throws, but we dealt with it rather well. Stuck in the game, maybe could have gone in front, but at the end of the day, we got there in the end. Super subs made the impact, and I'm sure you've seen that wonder goal from Reggie to win it.
Yeah, I mean, good goal, like you say, for Reggie Lamb, and only his second of the season. Goals not exactly been free flowing for Needham Market this season. Your leading goal scorer, Luke Ingram, on 3 goals. Is that a concern?
Not really. We've usually shared the goals out. Last year, we had a fair few close to each other. Luke was one, Seth and Chambers and Jamie McGrath were up there as well. I wouldn't say it's too much of a concern. I think we found our feet now in the division. We went there in the trophy Alfreton. We scored a couple of goals. And I think, yeah, you can say the Warrington away game, Hereford away game, Leamington. I think it was kind of, personally for me, that trophy day was when it started to click. And I feel we kind of started to get a lot more consistency, not that we hadn't already.
I think looking at the results so far for Needham Market this season, forgive me for saying this so crassly, but the thing that jumps out to me is for a team that are, near the bottom of the league, second from bottom you haven't really been hammered this season. There's been a few 3-0s, but defensively been pretty tight. When you look at comparative teams, Rushall Olympic got knocked for 7 the other week. Is that kind of a vibe that's felt amongst fans and people at Needham Market that you do feel defensively quite tight?
Yeah, that's kind of been our way, how we've been for the last few years. Obviously, last year, I know we won the division, so it'd be a bit different. Kept 20 clean sheets. The year before, we struggled, and we had the best goal record, goal difference of any side that were lower than the top 6, and it's kind of carried on this season. I think that's one thing that, regardless of what happens this season, we can continue to take pride of.
No, absolutely. You're certainly not embarrassing yourself this season. We've had the one encounter so far at your place, and really very defensively quite tight. And it took us a long time to break you down that day. Were you quite happy with that performance?
Yeah, couldn't be any prouder of the performance that night from our lads. Like, second home game in the league against a football league side, knowing that it was broadcast on National League TV as well. And we didn't look like a side that had just come up to the division. We've been good against sides from teams above in cups in the last few seasons, and we just went into it, I think, with that same mentality. Bigger games, we tend to turn up, not say we don't turn up in the against the, no offense to anyone, but what you would refer to as lesser teams. We're just good at rising to the occasion. And like I said that night, I think we were well deserved. We would have been deserved to have got a point, really. Maybe should have, but that's football.
Yeah, a bit of a dubious penalty decision, I seem to remember, but we'll gloss straight over that one because 3 points is 3 points, as I always say. In terms of players that might stand out on Tuesday night, is there anybody that Iron fans should keep an eye out for?
It's a tough one, but we're always discussing it within ourselves, really. I think our captain, Kieran Morphew's always going to be one that people from the outside seem to get to know of first. And to be fair, he's normally our man of the match quite a lot this season.
Is he a centre back?
Yeah. Unrelated to Dan Morphew, by the way. That's a question we always get asked. The other two, I'd say Adam Mills. I think he would have been deserved to have got a golden assist from the game Saturday with his performance, but I think he went off by the time we did come back in that game. But he's a winger. He's got various attributes that I don't think is particularly the same game to game. Brings different stuff, and
just variation. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Well
and the
said.
last one, I'll go with Ben Hunter, centre mid. I think he's, from what I can think of off the top of my head, the only player to have played every minute, I'd like to say. That could be slightly wrong, but tenacious midfielder, and I'd say box to box as well.
I think it helps having that dynamic player in any team. That kind of box to box can get you out of trouble. I think it's key to any team, no matter where you sit in the league. Certainly can change things in an instant. Finally, then, in terms of kind of tactically and formations, what kind of team are Needham Market? I think don't wish to be disrespectful. The easy assumption would be, get 10 men behind the ball, quite defensive, not really too expansive. Would that be a fair reflection, or is there more to Needham Market?
More so this season, it changes game to game. So I think we do have a favoured formation and style, but we tend to kind of adapt to the opposition more so, I'd say, this season. Maybe you could say that last year, but I think, last year, I think that comment applies as well. Sometimes when we need to, we'll soak up pressure, but we'll break when we can. But mainly, I'd say we like to get the ball down, play football, and be on the front foot.
Let's hope you come on Tuesday night and play some football. Just before you go, then, Drew, do you want to hit us up with a score prediction? How do you see this one going?
Any Needham fans that watch this will be the first to say I'm not one for score predictions, but I think from a Needham point of view, 1-1 draw would be enough for us.
Yeah, I think you'd probably take that. I think I can see it. I've just said this just now on the podcast. I can see it being a really, really tight game, actually. I think we probably will just edge it, but I'm going for a very conservative 1-0. I could see it being very, very tight, actually, particularly if you do come to frustrate us, which I would expect you would do, really.
Who knows? We might not.
Indeed.
Me and all.
Well, thank you very much for your time today, Drew, and we'll see you on Tuesday night.